This is the little big history of corn and how it and its importance has changed in the world over time. In order to talk about corn, we must first talk about how it came into existence along with everything else. So we must go back to the creation of everything. The Big Bang. The Big Bang is an expansion of the universe from the size of a pea to around 100 billion miles. After the Big Bang, hydrogen was formed after protons and neutrons collided into each other. This is the first atom. After this atom, hydrogen collided and compressed with itself, and due to the effects of gravity, creates stars and galaxies. After these stars and galaxies formed, the Milky Way was formed, and with it, the Earth. And a couple more million years of chance later, life on Earth began, and with it evolved, until finally they made teosinte, the small semi-tropical grass that eventually evolved into the maize, or corn. Native Americans transformed teosinte into a productive, elaborate plant that could thrive in a cool temperature. One of the early Mesoamerican civilizations, namely the Mayans, were a civilization that used corn very much in their lifestyle. They even had spiritual and religious significance with corn. It was their main source of food and also their main source of bartering and trading with other civilizations in order to get what they needed. Corn was really important to their society. We will now switch to an agricultural discipline to see how corn's made. Corn's made by planting the seed or kernel in 2 inches of soil, in which afterwards it'll germinate in 5 to 12 days, depending on the variety and the soil temperature. After the seed sprouts, it'll send down like a taproot and start to develop its first leaves, and then they'll be like blades of grass when they grow. And then it'll make a thick fibrous stalk after a while, and then these stalks can actually grow as tall as 15 feet, and the roots of each plant grow down to about 3 to 5 feet. Once pollination takes place and it goes through its cycle, the kernels begin to develop on each cob. It usually takes about 3 weeks from silking for the first earls to be ready for harvest. And in early civilizations, there were many complications like weather and droughts that caused maize to not grow and sometimes significantly harm a civilization when they couldn't produce enough to keep up with their needs. After a while, the modern revolution happened, and with it, the instances and usages of corn seemed to expand outward very, very rapidly. Now we switch to a chemistry discipline. With the modern revolution came an improvement in science and technologies, allowing for the creation of ethanol, which is mainly done through milling, mashing, fermenting, distilling, and dehydrating, all which ends up creating a fermented mesh or mash that would eventually be dried and purified and create ethanol. Now you might be wondering why ethanol? What's so good about it? Well, ethanol is the most environmentally friendly alternative to fuel that works in cars we already have. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 59%. It keeps harmful chemicals out of our air. It's considered the energy of the future. Innovation in the past few years has brought ethanol to where it is now. It's able to replace foreign oil. It's able to make America more energy secure. There's fewer oil spills in the world. There's cleaner water, and there's reduced greenhouse gas emissions. The world without corn would be a terrible world. First of all, there'd be no tortillas. And corn tortillas are probably one of the greatest foods in the world. Along with that, there'd be a lot more air pollution, and we wouldn't have a replacement for fossil fuels, and it'd be really troublesome for a lot of companies. A lot of people would also lose their jobs because the government actually pays these farmers like extra, like for their surplus of corn, and without that, I think a lot of farmers would go out of business and it would hurt the economy.